IDF arrests of Palestinian militants in the West Bank are common, but complications during an operation in the Jenin refugee camp overnight were enough to cause a media blackout that lasted several hours. It ended with a senior Hamas operative in custody and a home demolished, as well as several people injured. Shai Ben-Ari was in Jenin in the early morning hours. Here's the report.
The city of Jenin, which has a turbulent and violent history in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, was again the scene of violence Monday night when a convoy of around 40 Israeli security vehicles entered the city's infamous refugee camp, home to some of the West Bank's most notorious militants, to conduct arrests. We are here in the Jenin refugee camp in the northern West Bank, which has always been a hotbed for Palestinian radical activity. In fact, right now, those flashing lights that you can see behind in the distance basically represent Israeli security vehicles, which are conducting, even now, an operation to conduct arrests within the Jenin refugee camp. This is in the early morning hours. We're about 7 hours at least since the beginning of this operation. Mass IDF arrest operations are a matter of routine these days, but this one was different from most for the sheer volume of resistance which the soldiers encountered. The Israeli forces surrounded the house of a senior Hamas operative. As the arrest was taking place, the army said hundreds of Palestinians threw stones and Molotov cocktails at the soldiers on the scene. The IDF said that 12 Palestinians suffered from tear gas inhalation, with one Israeli policeman sustaining moderate injuries during the clashes. The possibility he was injured by friendly fire is being examined. Another factor that sets this event apart was the decision to demolish the home of the Hamas operative, Majdi Abu al-Hajja. What you see here behind me is the remains of the Abu al-Hajja house, the family home here, which was destroyed overnight during a security operation by the IDF and other Israeli security forces. One person, Majdi al-Hajja, was taken into custody. 4 other members of his family were also taken into custody, interrogated, and then released.
After an hour of interrogation, they released the others, but they took Majdi away. Afterwards, they began destroying the house. They used bulldozers and also fired a missile at the building. About 15 soldiers took part in the demolition.
Majdi Abu al-Hajja is a senior member of Hamas's military wing in the West Bank, and this was not the first attempt to arrest him. Home demolitions are not a new tactic, but Israel has refrained from using it recently. In the past, it has been used as a measure of deterrence against terror. When questioned, an IDF source refused to elaborate on why the Abu al-Hajja home was destroyed.
We call on the citizens of the world to come and see the suffering of the Palestinian people. All this destruction is unimportant. It can be rebuilt. It's a small price to pay for the sake of Palestine.
Many in Israel have questioned whether home demolitions of terrorists do not do more harm than good to the general security of Israeli citizens.